Today's video, I want to talk to you specifically if you are currently going through, a financial rut, an emotional rut, or in general, a very hard time in your personal life. And the reason why I, wanted to share this specifically is because the lessons that you're going to learn and the reason why God put you into the position where you have to struggle, you have to go through hardship, and you have to go through, a season that feels basically impossible to get out of, where you really have no idea what else to lean on, is because wilderness seasons are designed to be the purification that allows God to show up in your own personal image. And the best analogy that comes to my mind during the hardest seasons to date in my life, being 25 years old, is being in the crucible, where essentially, in order to purify silver of all of its iniquities, the smelter will essentially put the silver in the flame, in the very middle of it, where it's the hottest, where it's the most brightest, and where the silver is beyond its melting point. Because what ends up happening is all of the impurities that are within the silver dissipate through the heat until the point where the silver is purified. And when you ask the smelter what is the sign that allows him to know that the silver is ready to be pulled from the fire, is when he sees his own image in it. When I heard that specific analogy for the season of darkness that you go through, and when things are most difficult and you really don't know how you're going to get out of it, the biggest thing that God is trying to do in this period is to prune all of the problems and the issues and all of the flaws that you have, all of the ego and the pride that allow you to rely on Him fully, and to know that at the very bottom, at the end of the day, when nobody's around, the only thing that you really have when you come to this earth and when you leave this earth is when you realize God is the only thing at the very bottom of it. And through my own personal experience, I just understand what you're going through, and it's very hard, because I know that when I've been going through this, financial hardship and just not really understanding what would be on the other side of it, faith was only occurring to me after the miracle has happened, after I stayed in the crucible long enough to really lose that sense of self-control and that sense of ego in my own self that allowed me to believe that what I created in my life was through my own doing. And whatever your scenario is, if you relate to that, then I think that that's a big part of it, So I think that the biggest lesson for me is to have a strong sense of gratitude. And it's hard and extremely difficult to want to smile when you don't know how you're going to pay rent, and you have bills coming up, you have people that depend on you, you have responsibilities, and it's incredibly difficult to stay faithful during that time period. However, God doesn't put you through something that you cannot handle. And through my experience, the person and the thing that put you there is the thing and the person that's going to get you out of it. And so ultimately, all things under the sun are not new. Anything that has happened to you has definitely happened to somebody else. Most people won't understand what you're going through, but God knows what you're going through. And ultimately, that's the lesson that He wants you to come out with. And rather asking, why is this happening, you have to ask yourself, what is the lesson that I should learn that is going to allow me to strengthen my testimony, my story, that allows you to be the shepherd and the lighthouse for other people that are going through that specific, unique scenario. Express gratitude on a daily basis, and when you are dancing in the rain and shouting your praises when there's no end in sight, and the fire is burning the hottest, and the difficulties are at the highest, that's when God can really see you and feel you and hear you during that time period, because ultimately what it takes in that time period is faith. It cannot be curated, it cannot be thought through, it cannot be conjured up through existence, but through trials and tribulations, the strength actually like strengthen. And so I encourage you, and looking back and looking forward, especially during hard times that will come again, and I know that they will, because that's life. What is life without trials and tribulations and growth? And experience and wisdom cannot come through without context and failure. And failure is life's one of life's greatest teachers. Pain is life's greatest teacher. And so, yeah, wake up and still praise the Lord, even when there's nothing to really feel like there's to be excited about. But I know it's hard to really believe it when you're in the thick of it, but just know He's there with you. He has His hand on you, and He's going to pick you right back up and help you bounce back from anything that seems incredibly difficult. And so I don't know what that is for you, but I pray that you can practice that sense of gratitude and really allow yourself to push beyond the circumstances that you are right now, to see beyond the present and to see the future, that God has something great for you, and that ultimately this is all part of His plan, and that you're destined to do something incredibly impactful beyond your wildest dreams, and that God's vision for you is more than what you could ever desire. And ultimately, 10, 20, 30 years from now, you're going to look back on these years as the most forming years of your life, and you'll be grateful for it. Not in the moment, but only in hindsight, after you learn the lessons and gain the wisdom that's going to allow the wisdom to be transferred to another person that's going to help them in their season. So I love you so much. Appreciate you for tuning in. Hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you ever are going through that hard time, make sure you give your praise and dance in the rain.